Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Brother Manic's channel. Thank you for stopping by. Uh, some quick things to mention about the channel. This is a very, like I said, it's a pilot channel, right? So in the description for the YouTube, I explained that it's a pilot. This is gonna be it's gonna be pretty rough around the edges. For example, right now I don't have video at all. I do have a camera, but it's very poor quality. My mic is poor quality, but the message is high quality, so that's why I'm kind of going with this. I'm really feeling this message. My first video on channeling Micah was very receptive for my standards, which is the best standard, of course, and I was happy with it. I was happy with the feedback. I was happy with the channel, and it inspired me to keep going. So now I want to make this kind of like a part 2 thing, but I'll just kind of see where it goes, because honestly my videos, they'll be kind of, they're just going to be really free flowy, just because I don't really have a way to video edit. I'm not very good at it, but I'll learn, right? Everyone learns. So anyway, channeling Brother Micah. So I've been channeling Micah for about the past 5 days since he died. And excuse me for a second. I'm gonna go to my room because it happens to get very loud here in South Central. So now, Brother Micah, man, he's an amazing guy. Like I said before, I don't deal in the world of morality, which is a key reason why I picked Micah Johnson for my debut video for my channel, because this reason. Since I don't deal with morality, wouldn't the least person I would want to channel would be Micah? Right? Why would I want to channel a guy who killed 5 cops? Why would I want to channel a guy who did this, whatever? There's a laundry list of things he did and whatnot. And if you have questions, just leave them in the comment about where I stand on that situation, because I would love to answer that. I do like politics. I put it in its mundane box though, and I jump in that box when I want, and I jump out. But like I said, since at my channel, basically, morality is suspended. For all intents and purposes of magic, you have to suspend morality. What happens when you go to a movie? Your reality is suspended. Can Superman really fly? No. Can Superman really see through your bitch's clothes? No. Can Superman really... Is it a real concept? He's not. He's Superman. But while you're at the movie, one thing about a great movie is that it can suspend your disbelief. Or it can suspend your belief. For 2 hours and 30 minutes, you suspend belief. You entertain the idea of Supermen, of Batmen. These aren't real people. Spider-Man, these aren't real people or anything. These aren't real characters, but you believe it for an hour and a half. Like, oh, wow, look how high he could jump. You cheer for him. You cry for him. You feel him. You try and connect yourself to his character for 2.5 hours. That is basically channeling. That's channeling. That's what I do. So I learned about Micah. I treated Micah like a movie. I went to Micah's movie. At his movie, the images that I saw were images of Mars, images of him. Oh, whatever. I can explain the images, right? Anyway, I saw the footage of him killing the cop. I read a bunch of the information that came out about him afterwards. I saw several photos of him, and I decided to channel him. So we'll put that to the side. I've been channeling Micah. My newest channel is Lawrence, the cop who came out, who was found out to be a white supremacist, who was actually slain by Micah. Another reason why this is a channel that I would fuck with, because why would I want to channel a white supremacist cop? I don't care about morality. The last time I've been in the news, just to give my listeners a point of reference, was Sandra Bland. Between Sandra Bland and now, I took a hiatus from the news just because I was tired of seeing black people getting killed on TV. So I took a break, and now that's another reason why I knew this was a strong channel, because I was like, you know what? This is definitely pure of heart, because I don't want to do this, but I still feel it pulling on me. Whenever I don't want to do something, but I feel it pulling on me, I just kind of do it. I give it a shot. Lately, I've been giving it a shot, and my magic prowess has increased tenfold, because magic is all intuition work. So anyway, that's why I channel him. So if you feel offended by that, or if anybody feels offended by that, if you ever feel offended by anything I say on a human level, chances are you're in the wrong place. You're not supposed to be here, and that's fine. I got a comment, I got some feedback on my first video, and the feedback was, hey, you kind of curse a lot on your videos. So this is not a big deal. This is not like a thing or whatever for the channel. This is going to be something that'll be taken care of very easily, because people who want to hear this message are going to be able to deal with that. And I do the curse words for a reason. That's a spell, right? Words are spells. You spell words. So I casted a spell from my mouth, and that spell is called curse words, right? So I cuss, shit, fuck, cunt, whatever. But I don't care about morality. So what does that mean? If I don't care about morality and I still curse, why am I cursing? I don't believe in bad or good, so these words coming out of my mouth are not bad or good, right? For all intents and purposes of magic. So when I cast that spell of the magic, what does it do? Those who have ears will hear it. Those who do not have ears will not hear it. If you're too bent out of shape by a couple of curse words, you're definitely going to be bent out of shape about these messages I have for you. So you're not ready for this. You're not supposed to be here. There's levels to this shit. There's levels to it. This is not a new concept. This is not something. I'm not bringing this from on high. This is very simple introductory occult principles that I've learned myself. No one taught me. I'm not a student. I'm not a teacher. I'm not your teacher. I'm just a guy sharing his experience, channeling. That's it. And my goal ultimately will be to explain my experience, my occult experience, in a practical, applicable way to your life, to my life, in hopes that we can exchange ideas at some point and grow off of each other. So that's something I do in my personal life also. Anyway, I'm going to take some time to do a little shout out to myself, because I should be promoting my other areas of, I guess, ways to interact with my fan base. So please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. You can pause this video. It's gonna be what I don't know how long the video is gonna be, but I'm gonna be here. I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying the channel already. I'm just kind of like warming up a little bit. I just woke up, took a shower, had a little breakfast, some water, and been relaxing and whatnot. And I decided I really wanted to channel. I've been wanting to do this video since I uploaded my last one and saw the response was okay. It's decent. I was happy with it. Very super happy. Anyway, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Please share your experiences. If you're a channeler, share. If you do tarot, if you do anything occult, if you do magic, if you do altars, readings, anything, I'm looking to connect with people. My thing is that I have a hermit archetype, and so I spend a lot of time by myself. I have my best moments by myself. I love being by myself. I don't need anybody else, really. I can literally go through like my life and probably never talk to anyone on a liminal base, like very limited social interactions, and I'd be super happy. I'd probably prefer that. But as an occultist, I view myself as a proverbial scientist. Actually, I'm a scientist. I'm a fucking scientist. So I try things. And what do scientists do? What do scientists do? they write reviews and share it amongst their peers. So we're the scientists, and let's, have our experiences, share our, review our peers and what have you, and, let's do the work. A lot of magic has to do with doing. You don't do any magic is an action. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a culture. It's not something you do because you feel insecure. It's not something you do because you're already kind of weird, so you might as well just go all the way with it. It's not, this ego thing has nothing to do with ego. It's just, magic is simply taking from your mind ideas, which is, I guess, I would say it's your will, and then putting that will into the world the way that you see fit. So it's not a coincidence when I'm sitting down with my brother and I'm channeling Micah, and I end up talking to my brother for 6 hours when we never talk. Why? I'm channeling Micah, right? Maybe Micah needs something to learn from my brother. Maybe Micah wants to, whatever. That's a part of the channel. So, yeah, leave a comment, subscribe. You can send me an email with questions to brothermanic333 at yahoo.com. I have no messages, so I feel like a loser. So please just send me a message, share your experience, introduce yourself. I'll share my experiences, and I'm pretty strict with who I interact with on a spiritual level, just because I get pretty picky, and that's fine for me because I view my occult life as like a profession, right? So think about it this way. If you're in a room full of doctors, wouldn't you want to hang out with doctors? But what if one doctor came up to you and was like, hey, let's hang out. Oh yeah, what do you think about going to a hotel and doing a boob job on this client for this much money? Like, obviously it's something a fucking doctor wouldn't do, right? So the doctor's just gonna walk away from that guy. Dude, excuse me. The doctor will walk away from that guy. He's gonna be like, you know what, I'm not really fucking with him because he's not practicing the right way. I'm looking to practice I'm not gonna say even the right or wrong way. I'm looking to practice the way that has no rules. Like, we're doing the next new shit. Like, it's not about doing old stuff. That's religion. Like, religion is like looking at old stuff and glorifying old stuff. I'm trying to look at old stuff and see what principles they're applying, and then apply that now and get new channels. Anyway, new channels for Micah. I said in my first video that Micah is stuck in the spirit world, right? So the way that I see it is that there's 3 worlds. There's this world, the spirit world, and then there's the cosmos, I guess, or chaos. So anyway, if you don't believe in chaos or whatever, the upper room, heaven, blah blah blah, anything, the spirit world, or no, not the spirit world. That's actually would be separate. But if you don't believe in this concept of the cosmos, like the greater subconscious, then you don't go there. This is why in every religion they really hype up the idea of heaven, because religion, you can get to some state of consciousness in religion, but the thing is, it's a vampire energy, right? This is very easy to prove. It's a vampire energy. It's not new. Nothing I'm saying is new, right? This is stuff that you can easily Google, read. There's books for it. I need to get more links for where, I want to read more books that are going to kind of help me with showing my points, I guess, or what have you. But excuse me for a second. Yeah, it's a vampire energy, right? Christianity is a vampire energy, so you're doing a lot of things right, but with Christianity, you just have the wrong mindset. Like, I know a lot of powerful Christians, but it's not because they're good Christians. It's because they're Christians that don't have a Christian mindset. And what does all occult study? The balancing of good and evil, of Mayat. If you're a Hotep nigga, right? I have not stolen. I have not did this. I have not touched my girl. I have not touched my neighbor's wife's ass or whatever. I have not taken this go. Or whatever the bullshit is. It's not literal, right? So what are they saying? You have not. This is all Brother Panic science. Like he dropped. This is where I learned it from. But the principle of balance is not about, oh, I need to always be good, because no, you'll fuck some shit up always being good, or you'll fuck some shit up always being bad. The one who makes it pop, or one that really makes it happen, are the demigods, right? The ones who are half evil and half good. They're neutral. They get to decide. They get free will. Free will, in my eyes, is the same shit. Anyway, the most powerful Christians I met did that, right? They were able to take from Christianity what was actually good, because there's some occult shit in Christianity, and discard the ego shit. And that's having purity of heart, in a sense. It is the actual sense. Like, if you can't do that concept, you're just gonna probably have a terrible time in magic, and it's gonna seem like BS to you. So anyway, I'll just go over my day real briefly, just to kind of like frame how my channeling session went. I went to bed the day before yesterday. After I recorded that first video, I went to sleep and I slept like a baby. This is confirmation of why I knew I was channeling, because usually I can sleep. I know I don't sleep. I don't sleep very often. And it's because I never channeled really. And the first time I ever channeled, I just felt a lot of literally like a weight off of my chest. Like Micah really wanted me to share that message with you guys. Thank you for listening, those who did. And so he really wanted you guys to hear that. So that was confirmation for me. So I woke up very rested. I felt great. I had a great day. Like, it was just awesome. And the whole day I was channeling. And so I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I'm going to talk about. I was at work. Did some things at work. Came home, whatever. I met up with my brother. And this was a majority of my day here, was spending time with my youngest brother. I'm the oldest, right? And my youngest brother, there's about a 7-year gap between us. My youngest brother, so we hang out, and he is asking me questions, and I start noticing that Micah is coming through my brother. So I start talking to Micah through my brother. My brother thinks I'm talking to him, though. So my first thing is to take down my brother's ego, because he's a young kid. He doesn't really know much about the occult. So I start very lightly, and I just start asking questions to kind of see where he's at in that world. So he's talking to me about women. He says, oh yeah, I was on the bus today. I met this pretty girl. I'm texting her. I'm going to see her soon. I said, cool, man, that's dope. And immediately I say, oh, you know what? This is Micah, because Micah's lower chakras are fucked up. He's always trying to talk to girls. Like, if I'm ever out and like I just want to talk to girls all the time or whatever, it's Micah. I ignore it just because that doesn't do anything for me really, physically or spiritually. And I'm actually, I'm just content. I'm content in that regard. I don't need to talk to women, but that urge to always do it and stuff, that's Micah. Micah never really learned how to do that. Remember, the story came out afterwards. After I had this idea, the story came out that Micah got sent home from Afghanistan for smelling panties or whatever. So boom, his lower chakras are screwed up. So he starts talking to me about girls, but I noticed that a lot of things that Jacob, whatever, a lot of things that my brother was saying was fucking, it was very magical, but he didn't have a magical mindset. So he's basically a Christian, right? So I treated him like a Christian. I just asked him different questions, blah, 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 blah. And then eventually I start hearing the right answers from him. So then I start asking him deeper questions. And we get down to the nuts and bolts of it. And the further I go with him, the harder the channel gets. And I get more, I'm getting more intuitive. So I start pretty much by channeling Micah, since like Micah is there and Micah has information that I don't. I was able to kind of like connect certain dots for Jacob that kind of made him understand that he's a god, and that his mind is really what is making things manifest, right? So for example, Jacob's talking to this girl, and Jacob says, hey man, this is what I said. And I was like, oh, I would have said this, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, really? And I explained to him why. And then he gets it. And then we start talking about magic, because I told him about the show. So we talked about the girl, then we talked about my show. So he gets interested in magic. He's like, oh, well, what do you mean by channeling? So I explained to him, well, look, channeling is basically kind of like making educated guesses and then waiting for the world around you to say, hey, you're right. For example, when I saw a picture of Micah, I saw a dead look in his face. The very first pictures of him. Remember, the pictures came out before the story in Afghanistan. So when the story came out, when the pictures came out, I was channeling Micah. I saw that really dead look in his face. And I said, you know what? His root chakras are screwed up. Right? That was my guess. I'm the scientist. That was my hypothesis. His root chakras are screwed up. That was my guess. I told Jacob that. And then I told him a week later, it comes out, his blah, blah, blah. He's over there eating panties in Afghanistan. They send him home from the army. He gets discharged. So that's channeling, right? Some people would say, oh no, that's a coincidence. That's fine. For you, yes, that is a coincidence for you. For me, I made that shit happen because I said so and I believe so. Whatever. So channeling Micah with Jake, and he doesn't really get it. He's kind of like, you can see the lights going off in his head. He's like, yeah, blah, blah. So then Pan starts coming in, right? So we start talking about Pan because we're talking about women and shit. So there's that whole like sexual thing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm teaching him, he's teaching me. So it's like the big brother, little brother mentor thing. There's like the predecessory thing going on, minus the moral gay stuff, which I explained to him very promptly. And so I started explaining to him a lot of concepts. We cover so many concepts. Like I wanted to record it. Like it was probably like one of the most like heavy messages I've dropped on somebody while channeling. We did magic, we did rituals, and these are all things that happened on its own, right? And like I said, some people say, "Oh, it's a coincidence," and then but I say it's magic, right? Some people say coincidence. There's no coincidences in this world. Like everything here is a reflection of the underworld, right? So I'm explaining to him all these concepts, and we start talking about Pan. We talk about Micah. We talk about a host of deities, right? So we do that, and I'll just finish with my brother, and then it ties into Micah, right? So like I said, I'm channeling Micah. Am I literally physically channeling him? Micah? No, I don't care about Micah. Micah was an African American male who was in, he was in the military and he shot 5 cops. These are all human, mundane things. I don't give a fuck about them. This is just another person to me that doesn't matter. On a human level, on a spiritual level, these are signs. So I read the signs. What does the sign says? He's a martial figure, right? He's Mars. That's where you get martial from. Mars is the master of martial arts or whatever, and he's dope with all weapons. So when he's killing the cops, the first thing I see, boom, he's a master martial artist. Like he's good with his rifle. He was a great soldier and everything, and highly developed in his lower chakras, and he just had more experience, more war experience. So a lot of these martial figures right now are under attack in this world because martial figures are very strong in the underworld. Like war and love is they're like primordial deities pretty much. These are giants. These are titans. These are the colossuses. It's like, these are the things the most powerful songs are written about. Like off the top of my head, I don't know shit about the 80s, but I know Love is a Battlefield. Love is a battlefield. Da da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I know that shit because love is a battle. Love and war go together. Who is Mars's wife? It's Aphrodite, right? Love and war. They go to war. No, Ares' wife is Aphrodite. I'm sorry, I'm using the Roman equivalent, but Ares and Aphrodite are husband and wife. And they're also brother and sister. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, they're brother and sister, right? In Game of Thrones. Who's the brother and sister who have sex? A god of war, Jaime Lannister, and his sister, Cersei, who's beautiful, she's sexy, she's Aphrodite. Right? So Aries and Aphrodite go together. I've been channeling Aphrodite for quite a while. I channel Aphrodite through my girlfriend. She doesn't really know it. She doesn't understand it because she's very she's not really initiated into this world at all. She's a child in the sense of spiritual works, but I picked her for that reason. Like I wanted her for that reason. So I channel Aphrodite through my girlfriend and mostly through women around me, just because it's an easy way to do it. And so it didn't. To me, this is more confirmation of why I was channeling Micah. To a greater extent, I'm channeling his attributes. His attributes are the same as Mars. Deities are just sets of attributes, right? This is my understanding. This is the only reason why I can fuck with really the occult world, because if it was some actual shit, I'd really be scared. But once you understand the concept of out of darkness comes light, then this shit is all perspective. In some people's perspective, what I'm doing scares them. My brother Jacob was scared last night, and I kept telling him, dude, who told you to be scared? And he's like, I don't know. He could not give me a good reason. So I told him it's about perspective. Don't be scared, because this is just a symbol. A symbol's a 1,000 words, right? So this symbol that we're looking at right now, Pan with his hand around his what do they call it? It's like a Greek word that they had. I'm gonna look it up. Greek pedicestry. I think it was called an Arimanes or something like that. So yeah, there's a Greek depiction of Pan, and it's an adult male Erastes and a young male Arimenos. So basically, what this was is this is fairly common, like Greek. I literally Googled this. Like, this is not profound knowledge, but in Greek culture, they had these relationships. It was kind of like a man-boy love kind of thing. Funny enough, how we have that now, but it's all twisted up. But they had it down to an actual science. And so basically, what would happen is like older men or whatever would be sought out for young boys so that they would learn from them, or it was like arrangement through families and stuff, and it was mostly like in like higher society. I don't think it was something really like the poorer class did. So it was something that like the politicians and the Senate and these kind of guys, the lawmakers and the landowners would do for each other. It's kind of like it was a mentorship. Today we have modern mentorship, but without the sex. But there's a sexual pedicestry thing going on with like mentoring or whatever. Like the way the etymology of the word breaks down denotes like a sexual connotation between a student and a teacher. So anyway, I'm explaining this to him, and he's like, man, this is kind of weird. But then I told him, wait, didn't I say that everything I tell you and everything we're talking about right now is not literal and it's without ego? And he says, yeah, you're right. So how come black people always say something, they'll say something gay to mess around, they'll be like, no homo. Isn't that what I just said to him? I just said, hey, look, I'm going to teach you this pan shit, but no homo. That's why niggas are magical. We'll say shit that, this whole concept of the magical Negro, like if you want, there's a Key and Peele skit, and it's about a magical Negro. And this magical Negro is an old man. He's a janitor at a corporate office. And everyone thinks he's a magic Negro, and they're waiting for him to do magic. So all these white people are waiting for him to do magic, and he keeps saying all these profound things. But so he says all these. I'm gonna finish the skit. He says all these profound things, and then at the end, I forget what happens. He actually does magic. But this concept of a magical Negro, there's some truth to it. We are magical. What's not magical is our mind. So you can be magical all you want, but if your mind is fucked up, nothing's gonna happen. So Jacob is a magical Negro whose mind is fucked up. So I start asking the spirits around me to come through and just like, help me get through to, not help me get through to Jacob, but just like kind of just to be a good witness, right? So I start asking Micah, like, hey, Micah, blah, blah, blah. And Micah was there. And Micah, um, he's a, Micah exists on like different planes, right? So on one plane, he was there in the room with us and he was like, hey, I'm just here to learn and hang out. Because he never really got that. Like, he never had like a younger brother or nothing like that. So I'm, giving him some younger brother time and friend time, all that, bro time, all that kind of stuff that he really missed out on. There was that, but Micah was there on another level teaching me and teaching Jake and making this scenario for us where me and my youngest brother get to bond in a way that I felt comfortable because I love the occult world. Like, I can go on and on talking about it. So me and my brother are having this experience, and the whole time I keep showing Jacob that he's a god. I keep showing him how he's a god, both physically, proverbially, metaphorically, everything. Because I don't just go by one route. I'll say, hey, you're a god because of this, you're a god because of this, you're a god because of this, until he starts to get it. And it's not up to me to convince him ultimately. But every time I see that little light go off above his head, I know I'm getting closer. So he keeps saying, like, damn, you're right. Damn, you're right. Damn, you're right. And one time we're playing the video game, and he exclaims and shakes my neighbor's hand, and he says, hell yeah, I'm a god. Because so basically he killed somebody in the video game, and he was so excited that he killed them. He said, I'm a god. And then I said, stop right there. Didn't you just tell me you're a Christian earlier? And he said, yeah. But didn't you just say you're a god? Yeah. Well, isn't that against Christianity? Yeah. And I said, do you feel bad for saying it? He said, no. And I said, you shouldn't. And then he stopped and he was like, oh, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, you're right. Blah, blah. But he said, I said it by accident though. And I said, it doesn't matter because every word that comes out of your mouth is a spell. And I said, why do you think Meek Mills lost to Drake? That nigga lost when he named himself. He said, my name is Meek Mills. Meek is a dumb, stupid, it's a fucking negative connotation word. Why would you put that curse on yourself? People curse you every time you do your fucking a show. If he's at a show and people are pointing at him and dancing and, yeah, go Meek Mills, like, you got niggas pointing at you, pointing all their energy at you and calling you Meek. And it's like, you're cursing yourself in that sense, but it might be some magic to it because this nigga is actually popular, so that's a good point. Like, it could be like some purity of hardship, but the point that I was telling him is that subconsciously you will take steps to wake yourself up. At the beginning of my conversations with Jacob, it was all resistance. He's like, nah, I don't really believe in that, man. I believe in doing things my way. Because he keeps telling me about how he talks to girls. And he would say, well, all I do is walk up to girls, introduce myself, compliment them, make them laugh, and then get their number, and then see where it goes. And I said, and how often does that work for you? And he says, very often. And I said, keep doing that. It's not about what you do. It's about your mindset. He knows when he goes up to that girl, he's confident enough to know that she's going to feel his energy. She's going to feel his compliments. She's going to feel his genuine vibe of him coming up and just being like, hey, I just want to introduce myself and see where this goes. That's where his magic comes from. And when I explained it to him, he was like, nah, I don't really see it that way. I was like, you're not supposed to because it's natural. Magic is natural, right? And he was like, yeah. So I explained my way, and he's like, well, I wouldn't really do it that way. And I said, that's fine. But I didn't ask if you would do it that way, and I didn't even critique what you should do because honestly, his game is really weak with women. But it doesn't matter because his mindset is strong, right? Because he's a god already. He just doesn't know it yet. So that's why that stuff is working for him. It doesn't work for me. I get too freaked out, and I have a whole nother method for how I would, talk to women and stuff. But it doesn't matter. The method doesn't matter. The results are what matters, and the review. So he starts to understand that. I get a couple lights to pop off above his head. I explain, concepts of polarity, morality, concepts of the underworld and the spirit world, and the underworld and the real world, and this world here, and how they interact together. He got a lot of game in a short period of time, and I didn't feel bad I couldn't record it because I felt like that message was actually for him. So anyway, the night goes on, and I get deeper into the channel. More people, more deities start coming through. My other neighbor comes through. His name is Hanato, right? Hanato's a Latino dude. He's taller, and he has very fair skin. So Micah comes through, and Micah starts playing around, and he starts giving me like softballing me like little examples I can use to show, or I guess stories I can use to allegories, whatever I can use to show Jacob, kind of like to get those lights to go off, right? To wake up, to turn those lights on in his head. And so I told him, hey, Jake, think about it this way. If everything in this world is opposite in a spiritual perspective, right? Everything happens here that's good is actually bad spiritually. And anything bad that happens here is actually good spiritually, right? So I said, who does your God look like? Well, I said, you're a Christian, right? He said, yes. He said, so your God is Jesus, right? So I said, what color is your God? He says, brown. I said, no, if you Google a picture of Jesus right now, it's a white man. So white here on earth is supposed to be good, right? So what is it actually? I said bad. And I said, who do they say the Catholic priests actually worship? He said Satan. So I pointed at, I had a picture of an altar of freaking Pan. It's the Greek Pan with, it's that Greek Pan where he's sitting there with his Arimenos, and he's teaching him how to play those pipes. And so I pointed at that, and I said, don't they say that's him? Don't they say that he's the Baphomet, that he's Satan? I said, why did they say he's Satan? And he says he don't know. I said, in this world, it doesn't make sense how Jesus and Satan can be the same. But in the spirit world, it can. And I explained polarity to him. And I told him that the story between Jesus and Satan was actually just a story of polarity, that they're one and the same pole, and ultimately that he is Lucifer. That he's in his lower chakras, and he needs to raise himself up to a Christ chakra. And that basically all the encounters between Jesus and the devil, quote unquote, or Satan, Lucifer, whatever, these are just allegories to show you lessons in polarity, lessons about yourself, and whatnot. So he got that. But every time I noticed, the lights kept going off, but every time I asked him, are you a god? He would say no. And I was like, after I explained to him how spells work, he started to understand it and kind of stopped saying it. But I noticed something, that his mindset was screwed up. So my brother's mindset is screwed up to the point so bad that I can show him time and time again that he's a god, and how it works out logically in the spirit world. Not even logic. I won't say logically, but it makes sense in the spirit world that he's a god. And he just cannot say he's a god. I keep pointing, I keep trying to quote unquote initiate him by way of getting him to understand it to a point that he'll never be able to look at a Pan deity again and not feel a connection to it. That's initiation to me. It's whatever. It's any little event that happens and that afterwards you look at the world differently. For example, yesterday I feel that I initiated my brother Jacob into the occult. I'll say why. I met Jacob earlier that day around 6 p.m. By 12 p.m. he was a different person because he met me. He met Micah. Micah initiated my brother into the occult world. Did he not? I would not be in this mindset if I wasn't channeling Micah energy. So anyway, he gets initiated that night. It was great. It was beautiful. I want to talk more about it. I want to share questions, or I want to share answers, but I need questions, and nobody's asking me questions. So feel free to stop now. Ask me questions. Hey, what does this mean? What does that mean? I disagree. I agree. What do you think about this? I tried this. This group is about trying stuff. This is not intellectual masturbation. This is not going to be, hey, let's meet up and talk about this book and let's have debates. Like, we don't debate here. There's no debates. You know what I do when I go to a debate? I will see how both of them are right. That's my science. Because at a debate, both niggas are right. If you go to a debate and two niggas are debating and you hear one dude talk about Christianity and it's like, damn, for a long time, I believe Jesus was a real person. A very long time, I had it down to a science that he was a real person. And then I heard, it might have been Phil Valentine explain how he's not, or one of those guys explain how he's not, and it made 100% sense to me. And at that time, it baffled me. I felt deceived. But now, in my understanding, I see how they can both be true. That's what they say. That's what it really means when they say that you can see past, present, and future, or you can see multiple realities or whatever. Because every decision we make is reality, depending on depending on how I make it. For example, I woke up this morning. I decided not to go to work. This is the reality I live in now. There's another reality where I do go to work, right? There's two different realities. That's a way of looking at it. That's how I view it. That's how it makes sense to me, and whatever. So I initiated my brother Jacob by way of Micah. What this did for Micah was it cleared up his root chakra. I think he's still working on it, but honestly, making videos about it and stuff, I feel like he never got to do anything productive. So or something for himself. Like, it was always just like, man, I gotta learn how to shoot better. I gotta, go to school, whatever. I gotta listen, da da da. He's always just following orders. So he never really, got a chance to have fun. So all I did yesterday, I came home, I played Overwatch. I was channeling through Overwatch. That was great. Spent some time with my younger brother, had a beer, and just did bro time, like, because that's what Micah wanted. We did some magic. I'll explain one magic ritual we did, which is pretty interesting. And it was just something we did on a whim, which all my best magic has happened that way. I actually get results when I do it this way. So we go out and smoke a cigarette on the front porch. We're sitting on the couch. And I say, let's take a break. Let's go smoke a cigarette. Because I was using this situation with Jacob's girl to initiate him. So I told him, I was like, hey, everything that we've been doing tonight has been working, right? And it's been quote unquote magic. And he was like, yeah. So he's like, you're in this. And I told him, you're a scientist, right? He was like, yeah. And I said, so what do they say about the rat race? And he says, what do you mean? The experiment with the rats and stuff. Don't they put a piece of cheese in the thing and tell the rat to go get it? And he said, yeah. Well, I told him. He says, yes. So I tell him, well, if you're the scientist, where are you in that experiment? And he was like, he didn't really understand the question because he doesn't really think that way, I guess. And not that it's profound. This is not profound shit I'm saying. Like I said, this is very common, like, knowledge. It's easy to find. It's just the mind. It's not the concepts that are hard. It's the mindset that's hard to understand for magic. Again, something I learned from Panic. He'll tell someone in one of his latest shows. He says that in his class, the lessons are not the hardest thing. It's the mindset. Because what will happen is people start doubting themselves. As soon as you doubt yourself, your magic is done. If you doubt yourself, you lost your channel. If you hear me on while I am recording and I say, shit, I lost my thought, something fucked up my energy and I lost my channel. So I try and tell my brother never to question himself, just to go with his intuition and go with what feels right. So anyway, we're texting the girl and stuff, and I tell him he doesn't trust me to text her. So I know if he doesn't trust me to text her, he definitely doesn't trust the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? This is what Micah told me. So we go outside, we smoke a cigarette, we come back in, and he knocks over a glass of water. In the first show, I was telling you I never feed Micah because Micah is overgrown here. The whole night, we kept talking about Attack on Titans. I don't watch anime. Jacob doesn't watch anime, but you know what's happening? Me and Jake are channeling Micah. Who is Micah? Micah's a Titan. Who did they attack? They attacked the Titan. What is an Attack on Titan? What do those Titans look like? They're giant beings. I think they have no eyes. They only have mouths. They're giant humans with no eyes, and they have mouths. Overgrown wild hair, and they don't wear clothes. They're naked. And they don't have genitalia. This is a metaphor. It's a symbol for who? Micah. I just told you Micah's red chakras is overgrown, aren't they? Well, how would you cartoonize that? As a fucking Titan. an Attack on Titan, those like big human thing, they eat people, right? All they do is just run around mindlessly eating people. Who had the mindless look on his face with dead eyes? No eyes. That nigga Micah's a Titan. He's a god. And those Mars figures are really big. Every Mars figure I ever met in my life, they're big, but I really feel like the Mars energy is under attack. Like, I mean physically big. Like, these guys like to fight. They're warriors. They're the warrior class. But the thing is, in the world we live in now, the time period we live in now, that energy is like really suppressed. So whenever I see those beings, I see them with chains on. I see them making fools of themselves. I see them, insecure sometimes because they're not intellectual, which you don't have to be. Like, everybody has a different place in this world, and I don't like seeing that. I have one of my closest brothers is a Mars figure. And I used him as an example too to show how show my brother Jacob that he's a god. So anyway, I'm giving him these examples, and we go outside, and he comes back. We come back in. He sits down on the couch, and he knocks over a glass of water. And I said, I never feed him, so he's thirsty. So I said, Micah's thirsty. Don't pick that water up. Leave it there. And he says, what do you mean? I said, leave it there. So he sits down. He's like, all right, that's kind of weird. But I told him, well, isn't magic weird? He's like, yeah, you're right. So I left it there. And he's kind of looking at it mystified. And I said, I got him now because I suspended his belief. Do I really believe Micah is here? No. What does my channel say? Nigga, let me read this on my channel for all these people that are not reading my shit. Let me go to my channel. Brother Manic. This week. Man, I can't wait to get more videos up for you guys. For anybody who's listening. I was glad that in one day I got 50 views. Like, just imagine one day 50 people came to your classroom and listened to you say something. Like, that's good. I like that. I'm happy. My channel. This is something I'm very serious about. I'm gonna make a video about it. But the about me, how? I don't know if I can find it. Oh, here we go. So if you go to show more under my channel info, you'll see a section that says what you will find at my channel and what you won't find. No, you will not find ego, superstition, a teacher, or morality. This is very important to me because these are the things that have always kept me out of the magical world. Ego always kept me out because I had very huge ego issues when I was a kid. I was teased as a kid a lot. I was goofed on a lot. Not because there was nothing wrong with me. It was just people found me intimidating. Because a channel that I once got was that I was a diamond child. I don't really like that because I try and be masculine and everything because I like being masculine. I'm a man. And this world is mostly feminine, so I like really being counter to the world. And right now, I feel like masculinity is not getting the attention it deserves. So I'm trying to build up masculine energy. But the reason why I channel Pan and Micah and all these guys, Michael Jackson, is because I'm a Pan energy myself. And so Pan energy are usually fairies. So fairies are gay people. So I don't like really talking about that kind of shit because I don't really want to be looked at as that. Not that I care about it, but because shit, the truth be told, gay niggas are like the most magical niggas. Like, they got real power, like in the spirit world. They got a lot of clout down there. So I'm not worried about that. It's just my preference. Like, I like being manly. That shit makes me feel good. It makes me feel sexy. Like, I like being with a woman. Like, it feels great. I've never, viewed a man that way. But all of my science comes through, all of my magic comes through androgynous beings. A lot of my lifestyle is based on androgyny, even though I didn't put it that way, which I know now why it's magical, because that's pure of heart. Anytime you're doing something just because, oh, I just felt like doing it, that's purity of heart. Anytime you're like, oh, I'm going to make a YouTube channel so I could be a millionaire, you know what's going to happen? That shit's not going to happen. But I channel Micah, and Micah wanted to do this. This is for Micah. I made this channel. Oh, shit. Dude, if you look at Brother Manic, you can basically stylize Manic as Micah. That's crazy. So Micah, so that's a channel. You guys, I just channeled that just now. This nigga Micah just switched around the words Manic and made it look like Micah. Macin, but you put a little, fix the N up to look like an H. Macih. Is that Micah? Let me double check. I feel slow right now. Yeah, dude, this is crazy. Wow. Dude, when I show my brother this, he's gonna know he's a god for sure. Dude, brother Micah can also be stylized as brother Manic can be stylized as brother Micah. So I was supposed to channel him for sure. This is crazy. Wow. Well, it's not crazy. It's supposed to happen. This is normal, actually. It's not crazy, but I'm supposed to channel brother Micah. He's a pan deity himself. One thing he actually told me, and like I said, I view Micah, like, I respect his deity, so I know that he can go through different levels and come to me in different ways. And one way he comes to me is as a student who's trying to learn. That's why I would spend so much time, lecturing people, and they always get annoyed at me. They're supposed to get annoyed because the message is not for them, it's for the fucking spirits. And also it's for people who need to hear it in passing and all that kind of stuff. It's for their subconscious, it's not really for them. And it's for YouTube. That's what it was for ultimately. And when Micah came through, he said, Micah, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. That's an occult. There's a occult clout with that. There's a occult understanding with that. So yeah, I'm supposed to channel him. I'm that figure. One thing he told me is that when you're looking at that Greek god Pan with he's with his Eramenos and he has his arm around him. I'm embarrassed to say this. I'm not really embarrassed to say it, but in the moral world, I would never say this. But in the spiritual context, I get it, so I'm not scared to say it. I am that younger Pan. I'm the little Pan in that picture. That's me. I mean, I'm the Pan energy in general. They're not inseparable. But a lot of times in that little picture, that's me. Like, I'm the one who's always looking for a mentor and getting that. Masculine energy does do something for me, but not sexually. It doesn't do anything sexually for me. But I've always enjoyed brotherhood. That's why I like Christianity. I love hanging out with my Christian brothers. Like it was so much fun. It was some of the best times of my life. Just hanging out with bros. There's no fuckery or nothing like that. No weird stuff going on. It's just guys, and we just try and talk to girls. We hang out. We talk sports, video games, clothes, whatever. Just guy stuff. And those are some of the best times of my life. And I know why. It's because I'm a Pan energy. I need that kind of energy sometimes. But the same way I'm that little Pan, I'm the big Pan sometimes. And I need to teach. And that's why I was teaching my brother. So I started to explain to my brother that he was actually greater than me, right? I wanted him to know that message, that it wasn't about me. I told him, I'm not a teacher. I'm not your teacher. I'm not trying to be your mentor, your cult leader, nothing like that. I just told him I'm just trying to turn on some lights. That's it. What's wrong with that? If a house is dark and you go and turn on a light, is that a bad thing or a good thing? Most of the time it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, hey, let me turn the light on for you. You know what you could do if I turn on your light? You could turn it back off. Which, isn't that what he kept doing? He kept saying, I'm not a god, even though I would literally hand feed him questions where he's saying yes, 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 yes. And then I say, are you a god? He'll say no. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy is really stuck. And then eventually he finally got it. He got that it's not a deity that we're worshiping. There's no deity here. I suspended his belief enough for him to believe that so that I could talk to his fucking subconscious mind. Isn't that what they do in movies? Suspend belief, suspend belief, suspend belief. And then they sneak in those messages, subliminal messages. Suspend belief, suspend. I ride cars, I shoot guns, I do this, I do this, I do this. And you're dancing the whole time. But shit, when I was a young kid, I used to listen to Papa Roach. It's some little alternative rock band because in middle school I was in elementary school I was very alternative. I thought it was cool to ride a skateboard and listen to rock and roll music. And my older brothers, the gods, will always tell me, oh, they'll say you're a square for doing that. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, they'll always make fun of me for being a little skater kid because I'm black and Mexican. I'm supposed to be a thug. I'm supposed to be a schoolyard crip and BGC and all these like little gangs and shit. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to skate. Skating's for white people, right? But did I not say I'm a god? My older brothers are the gods. Who were the older gods? The Titans. Who were the middle gods? The Olympians. Who were the ones who were able to rise up into the ranks of the gods? Demigods. I'm half black, half Mexican by way of Spain. Half black, I'm a demigod, basically. I'm half black, half white, or half Spanish, whatever. Half Mexican. That, to me, that's not coincidence. Like, you don't just come, like, our energy doesn't just manifest down here just because. We choose to come down here for a reason. I chose my lifestyle. To me, I view it, shout out to anyone who plays RPGs, but if you play RPGs, you can have you can have very easy channels, because what you're doing in an RPG is basically what you do before you come to this world. Everything's black, and then a loading screen comes up and it says pick your class. You know what class I picked? The Centaur. I'm a Sagittarius. So I came here and said, I'm going to be a Centaur. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm Chiron, right? Isn't Chiron a Centaur? Damn, why do I like Chiron so much? Oh, maybe I'm a teacher. Let me teach. Where does Chiron teach? The Centaur. Chiron teaches on Mount Pelion, the pineal. What did I teach my brother last night about his pineal? What does Chiron do? Chiron trains heroes. What did I tell my brother last night? That he is a god. He is a demigod. He is a hero. He is Hercules. Where does Hercules go after the gods, me, tell him that he's a god and he could dwell among them? He goes to Mount Olympus, the pineal. Where did my brother go last night? To the pineal. I know my shit. Leave a comment, subscribe, disagree, agree, what have you. Brother Micah is in the shit. He's here. Anyway, so I fixed my brother. Whatever, maybe I didn't fix him. I did what I was supposed to do. I listened to the spirits and I did the work, and I shared my experience. And what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I right? To me, there's no wrong or right, but I want to get some feedback going. It doesn't have to be about this. It could be personal. I'm willing to share personal details about my life. I want to share future channeling ventures. I want to make videos where I kind of detail I want to detail the exercises I use to really strengthen my intuition. So I want to make short videos about that. I want to make videos describing the guidelines of the channel, of this channel, because what I'm gonna get is that I know I'm gonna get a lot of feedback for morality stuff, but honestly, don't be offended by anything I say, because if you're offended, what you need to do is ask a question. Because if you're offended, you're probably not asking the right questions. Because generally, I can explain all these concepts back into reality where I don't look crazy, right? So I want to do that. I want to live stream if there's enough support for that. If I get enough feedback to live stream, I want to do that. I don't want this to be a money thing, because it's not. I don't really need money. I'm happy where I'm at in life. And I'm not even rich. I'm just happy just because I have my mindset. Like, I'd much rather have my mind than have a degree. And it sounded foolish at first, but I genuinely believe that now. But if I get enough support, I will do like a PayPal thing. You guys could donate, whatever, if you want to support the show. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get the social media stuff up. If you have suggestions for the channel, leave that in the comments. Send me an email to brothermanic333@yahoo.com. That is so interesting. the first time I decide to start a YouTube channel, I'm channeling, and it's Micah, and I choose the name Manic, unknowns to me that Manic can be stylized as Micah. That is really interesting. I had no idea either. This is not. I didn't plan to say none of this, or I don't even write my show or nothing. Lately I've just been kind of just going with it. Okay, guys, I think I need to go do some like personal work. I enjoyed spending time with you guys and all the spirits. I hope I'm still recording. Yes, I am. Anyway, let me know what you guys want to hear about next. I love to talk about concepts on polarity, ego, chaos magic, modern. I like modern occultism. I'm not really about venerating the old shit because honestly, like I only learned the old shit just to understand how energy works, you know? I might use an old lamp, and plug it into the wall and, just to see how the old lamp works and to see how if the electricity's on. But after I'm done with that old lamp, I'm going to want to try a cell phone. I want to try and plug up, a hair dryer, whatever the fuck. Just I want to plug up anything into this energy. And I view my will as energy. So all I'm doing is plugging in different things into my will and seeing how it lights it up. That's all. And sharing my experiences. Like I love to share and it feels great. And thank you, the listeners. 50 views is great. I want to see some likes. I didn't get any likes. And I really hope I got those 50 views because actually I'm going to get going. We're going to put this to a close. Shout out to all the gods. Love you guys. Shout out to all the people who don't know their gods yet. There are plenty of them. I saved one of them last night. My brother was initiated by Pan. Pan was there the whole time, and my brother literally did a salute to Pan. So it's like crazy. Here's a kid who was stuck in his mindset. He's not even a Christian, and he still has a Christian mindset. That's dangerous. Because it was still, even though he's not a Christian, it's still keeping him away from truth. And I was able to wake that up. And it's like, if that's not a channel, come on, that's all I'm about. All I did with him that night was share my experiences. And it woke him up to some degree. Maybe it won't be this week, this month, this year, 5 years. But every time he looks at that picture of Pan, he will never be scared again. Did he not gain light? Remember I told you I channeled through video games? There's a popular video game on PS4 called Destiny. In Destiny, you pick a archetype. You know what archetype I picked? Before I was channeling, I picked the Titan class. Why did I pick a Titan? In hindsight, I know why. This is why you need to apply. You need to study because we do things magically every day. But since we don't study the right concepts, we don't know. What is the main concept in Destiny? You level up. You go to your next level by gaining light. It's an RPG, so every time you kill an enemy, they drop items. These items are balls of light. You get the ball of light and you smash it open, and randomly generated items come out, and you get these items and you equip them and you put them on your character. The more items you equip, what higher light levels, you get stronger. That's just a metaphor. It's a metaphor for we're literally living Destiny. Who gets paid the most right now in this world? The brightest students, the valedictorians, CEOs, people who go to work, people who study, people who have degrees. Who makes more money? A bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a doctorate degree? It's a simple question. Light is a metaphor for knowledge. In the physical world, the thing is, people here, they judge too much with reason and logic because we did go through a period of time where logic and reason were needed. But now we're not. Crowley already told us, do as thou wilt. That's not about ego. That's about willpower. You do as you will. Magic is about will. So yeah, I can channel through video games. I channel through Destiny. Osiris was there with us last night in the channel. We were playing Overwatch, and I was playing a character called Farah, and she's an Osirian figure, which is a Chthonian deity. And I was initiating my brother into the underworld last night, right? So I told him, look, every time, maybe this doesn't mean shit to you, but every time you play this character, you're going to remember what happened here. You're going to be initiated. A change occurred in his mind. Nigga, every time you have that moment, that aha moment, you're getting initiated. You got some light. What happens in a cartoon when a character has a aha moment? A little light bulb goes up off above their head. Okay? So this is my understanding. I like to take concepts from real life and kind of show how what they mean in the occult world, how they're powerful in the occult world, etc., etc. I channeled Anubis. The channel from Anubis was good. Osiris was good because Osiris is a dog. I have a special affinity with dogs because my primary deity that I channel and that I love dearly is Hecate. I fell in love with Hecate because I fell in love with magic, right? Deities are symbols. Do I give a fuck about Hecate? No. I don't. I care about what she stands for. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So if I'm standing at a crossroads, I'm thinking about Hecate. I'm thinking about magic. I'm reminding my mind that I need to stay magical first. I judge everything magical first. So Hecate, right? So that's why I played Osiris. So like, Hecate needs to come in. So boom, I pick the Osiris idol to play as while I channel. I don't remember anything I played that night, but I was making the best plays I had ever made. Jake was making the best plays he had ever made, like in the video game or whatever. Like, and he's not even trying. And I was pointing out to him, like, look, don't you notice that, like, you're playing the best you ever played and you're like the less stressed you've ever been? So I told him, how could this be evil? You're supposed to be mad right now. When he was mad, I channeled through video games. When he was acting out emotionally, he's playing the video game and he was trying so hard. And he kept fucking up and dying and losing, and his team lost the match. Listen to that. His team lost because he was trying too hard. Black people right now are losing because they are trying too hard. To what? To not be magical. What was Jacob's problem last night? Jacob was not being magical. I asked him, was Jesus black or white? He says black. He says brown. I showed him a picture. Is this Jesus black or white? He says white. I showed him white Jesus. He says, okay. I said, what is the opposite of white? He says black. On this world, what happens? Doesn't they say he's going to come as an angel of light? They say yes, blah, blah. Basically, I show him that white people are evil. Not white people, excuse me. That white supremacy is evil, and that they use this image to pretty much, blah, blah, blah. So I told him, so if you want to manifest things from this world into your mind, it's going to be weak. The things in this world, they don't even last in our mind. How long does your iPhone 6 keep you entertained? Because as soon as the 7 comes out, you're done with the 6. That's it. But we take these old concepts. How come these old concepts from, dude, yesterday I kept getting channels from Adonis and Isis. Adonis and Isis kept coming through. And how can I take this super old story? It's a corny old story. Nigga, we should be on Adonis, Isis 7, 9, 10 right now. Why are we still stuck on this regular boring ISIS story? Let's update it. because it's from the underworld. It's from your mind. Shit from your mind lasts longer and is more interesting. Right? We don't need material shit that's made here for the sole purpose of making money. You know why Adonis and Isis' story is so powerful? Because it's pure of heart. It's not there to make money. It wasn't there. It wasn't created to demean people. It wasn't created to stereotype people. It wasn't created to control people. It wasn't created for that reason. It was created to teach a story, to teach about yourself ultimately, and to remind yourself of who you are. That's why it's powerful. It's pure of heart. You know it's not pure of heart? iPhone 6. You know it gets boring way faster than Adonis got boring? iPhone 6. Because when the 7 comes out, you're done with it. Every time the myth gets updated for Adonis, it just changes color. Isis and Jesus and Mary, that's Adonis and Isis. Of course, this is a very easy comparison. That's nothing new. Man, I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, I know my shit. I'm glad that I helped my brother. At the end of the night, I really believe that I turned on the light. If I didn't, that's fine. Every time he looks at it, he's going to know. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. We're outside. We're smoking weed. We're finishing the ritual, right? So we're all going outside. And Hanato has a tendency to do like little homophobic remarks just like for fun. It's a little bit weird. Like he's always like, he'll be like, he has like little catchphrases, right? So he'll be like, I can't say it just because it's so embarrassing, but whatever. He says like little homophobic remarks. It's just like a typical guy thing. But at that time, there was significance to it because we're channeling Pan the whole night, right? And then here comes this nigga. He comes in acting gay. So I told Jake, listen to this. Remember, we're channeling Pan, right? Isn't he gay? I said, how is Hanato acting right now? He said he's acting gay. We laughed, and I said, yes, it is funny because it's not supposed to be taken serious. I'm not seriously calling him gay. I don't care about how he acts out physically. I care about the spiritual context. And the spiritual context was that while he was around us, he's acting out physically. He started kissing Jacob. Because we're texting the girl, right? And then Hanato's like, ooh, sexy boy, and he blows him a kiss. And I said, wait. To me, that's mundane. That's gay, right? That's homophobic. This is how if you're not an androgynous being, you can miss some magic. You can miss making shit happen. Because if I wasn't an androgynous being, I was like, nigga, you gay. Don't do that gay shit in here. Get out. But I recognized that Pan was in that room, and that's cool with Pan. Pan doesn't give a fuck about that kind of stuff. So I used that as a way to explain to my brother, though. I told him, okay, I asked him, who are the gods then after tonight? After what you know tonight, who are the gods? And he said, black people. Not literally, because there's some black people who are fucking coons, but genetically, melanin is just far superior for conducting magic than not having melanin. I've noticed that beings with more melanin are usually more magical, either intentionally or unintentionally, whatever. But those niggas are usually pretty magical, like the darker you are. But because it's more melanin, the melanin, whatever. There's like whole sciences behind melanin. I don't need to do that shit. So I asked him, who's darker right now? I said, me or you? He said me, because Jacob, he's out in the sun all the time and everything. I'm always in the office, so I get pretty like pale. And so I asked him, who did Hanato kiss? And then he said, me. I said, who's darker? He said, me. Who's the god? He said, me. And I said, is Hanato worshiping the god? And he said, yes. He said, no. And I said, yes. And then I explained to him the story that Brother Panic uses with, he has a grandpa who's white, but Panic is black. He's a nigga from the 80s, Brooklyn, 70s, Brooklyn. So he's a real New York nigga. And his grandmother had a white man as a husband who worshipped her. He said he worshipped her so much they would go over there and just eat whatever they wanted, did whatever they wanted. They had all kinds of snacks. He's a little kid from New York, so these niggas never really get like all the really like name brand snacks and all that kind of shit. So they thought that was hot shit. And they're eating pizza, hanging out. He brings all his little like friends from the hood up there, and the white guy loves them. He helps them, gives them advice, cherishes his mom. Shit, Panic's biological granddad even told his wife, Panic's grandma to go with the white guy because he could provide her for. What is that? Purity of heart. This wasn't a spiteful situation. This was a situation where he said, it's fine. Go ahead. I can't do much for you anymore. This white man can. You know what the gods are doing? You know what those black folks are doing? They were saving his grandpa. His grandpa was worshiping them because he knows he knew subconsciously if you worship black people, you go to the next level. What happens every time white people start appropriating black culture? What happens? Gods of Egypt happens. Who are the gods of Egypt this year? White people. Why do white people want to be black so bad, but they're killing black people on TV? There's a science behind it. The way Panic explained is that when his grandma died, he channeled her and she said that since that white man worshipped her, that he grafted her into her DNA pool. What is DNA? Knowledge. What is melanin has something to do with DNA, but basically the people who have melanin are people who have been here longer, so their DNA pool is deeper. The people who are lighter, you probably most likely haven't been here as long. So Caucasian people, white people, these people who can't go in the sun without like burning up. And again, there's no morals here. This is, if you're white, I don't hate you. I don't hate any white people. I don't even care about people in this. I don't even care about black people. I'm black and Mexican. I don't care about blacks or Mexicans morally. Not in a human perspective, but when I'm doing my spiritual work, that doesn't matter. I channel that white supremacist officer, Lorne, what the fuck was his name? I channeled that guy. I've been channeling that dude this morning. So I'm not racist. It's not in the spirit world. How naive would you be to say that I'm being racist or partial towards white people if in the spirit world there's no concept of race? You know how early the concept of race is? Race didn't come until the 15th century. How long do you think the underworld has been around? The cosmos, our DNA has been along way longer than 1500 years. There's no concept of race in the underworld. All there is concepts of students and teachers. So with the concept of melanin and white people, it's not a concept of hate. It's a concept of darker people are going to be able to understand messages. They'll take longer for white people to learn. It's the best way I can explain is this: like, would a 5th grader go hang out with the 8th grader? Probably not. They don't have nothing in common. It would be awkward, right? Wouldn't it be awkward if a 5th grader went to hang out with an 8th grader? The 8th grader would tell him what? Yo, you should bounce. What happens every time you're at a black party and a white person gets too black? The music stops. They tell him to leave. The gods are telling him to leave. The 8th grader is telling the 5th grader to leave. Does the 8th grader want to kill the 5th grader? He probably wants to punch the shit out of him, right? But he's not going to kill him. There's levels to this shit. You have to go through your grades. What happens if you're at a Freemason lodge and you're an initiate and you're trying to talk to the most highest nigga in there, whatever, the 33rd degree, the 3rd degree dude, whatever? He's going to judge you. He's gonna do the secret handshake. He's gonna do this. He's gonna ask you about this, and if you answer wrong, he's gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna talk to you later, instead of continuing with you because you're not on his level. And that's fine. You know what the initiate does? He says, damn, let me try harder. You know what white people do? They say, damn, let me shoot harder. No. Every time white people have worshipped black people, they prospered. When white people sat back and let black people build the world, we came up with America. Yes, we were slaves, but there's science behind that slave shit. Didn't I say earlier Attack on Titans? What the fuck does a Titan look like that a slave doesn't look like? Big as fuck, naked, all he does is eat, fuck, sleep, and work. That's a Titan. Who was attacking him? White people. Attack on Titan. Black people are the Titans, okay? Anime, you can get channels through anime for sure. So anyway, damn, what the hell? I need to remind myself what I was just saying. Channeling that cop. Yeah, it's not about morality. Don't take me as a racist or white supremacist, black supremacist, nothing. I'm not supreme about anything human. shit, I don't even care about myself. So how am I gonna care about a whole group of people? Like my human persona died a while ago. So I don't care about nothing really human. So in the underworld, there's no concept of gender. That's why if you don't understand androgyny, you can miss a lot of spiritual messages. That's why I'm okay to channel Prince, Michael. I channeled Prince. I channeled Michael, and I understand. I try and understand these figures. I understand a lot of gay figures. Sylvester. I used to channel Sylvester a while ago. The nigga. You make me feel mighty real. That gay shit. I can't sing worth a shit, so whatever. Make a comment about it or something. But this dude was he used to dress up in African garb and do like a bunch of like very disco-y, flamboyant. His name is Sylvester something. I think it was just Sylvester, and he used to be like a gay like androgynous figure in music in the 70s. And yeah, so there's a lot of power behind androgyny. And so that's my experience. I channeled yesterday. That's my experience. Send me an email to brothermanic@333@yahoo.com. Brothermanic333@yahoo.com. Leave a comment. I will reply because I'm bored. Whatever. I'm that thirsty early YouTuber. I'll do it because it's fun for me. Like I love to channel. I love to share. And I'm probably gonna upload another video because I need to, put some more information there about my channel. You can do Twitter, brothermanic333. I don't have an Instagram, but all that stuff will come along. And love you guys. Remember, no, there's no ego here, no superstition. I'm not your teacher. This is not a moral space. Once you come in here, also pretend like this is a movie. When you're in a movie and a woman gets slapped, everybody stand up and say, "Hey man, we're not fucking watching this movie. They were slapping women." They say no. Everyone shuts the fuck up and absorbs that message. When you come in here, tell your ego to shut the fuck up and absorb the message. Remember Jacob last night. What happened? I explained to him occult concepts. He says, I understand. So if you understand, are you a god? And he says no. You need to be saying yes. That's all. We're all gods because gods are just fucking personalities. That's it. Energies and personalities. So anyway, love you guys. And shout out to my beautiful girlfriend. I love her. To my family, to the 46, to the Council of the Six. You'll be hearing from them soon. Shout out to the Agitator. Shout out to the Apologetic. And this is all code for me. Don't worry. I'm doing my own magic here. The Apologetic. Shout out to all the archetypes that will be known soon. All the gods that will be known soon. So, okay. I'm out. I'll talk to you later. Oh, one thing. What do you guys think about this? This is an idea I had for a show called Brother Panic, the Haymaker King. He's the king of haymakers. I got this channel when I was in the underworld, right? You know what? This is going to be another show. I'm going to do it right now. Brother Panic, the Haymaker King, coming soon. This is me and Panic, our relationship in the underworld. Remember I told you that I'm the younger Pan? Panic is the big Pan. That's the big homie. So I get a lot of my shit from Pan because, remember I said I'm that little Pan. So pretty much all my shit is Pan science. Does it make sense? I don't know. Does it? Because didn't I just explain I'm the younger Pan? Isn't his name Brother Panic? I'm Brother Manic. That's corny, right? You know how corny that was? Because it was pure of fucking heart. That's why it's corny. And what happened to it? It turned out to be Micah. Channeling Brother Micah on Brother Manic's show. And I showed you how Manic and Micah are the same if you switch the words around or whatever. You switch the H and the C around and you get Micah instead of Manic. I'm actually gonna that's not a proof. I don't care. That's like some ego shit, but that's just like a little small channel. That's not even that profound, really. That's just normal shit. But I'm a new channeler. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm not good at it. I'm just having my experience and sharing it and seeing where it goes. So the next show will be Brother Panic, the Haymaker King. I got this example by teaching about polarity to one of my close friends, and I was giving him an example of what goes on in the underworld and explaining how it manifests in the physical world. And basically, the way Brother Panic manifests in the physical world is the Haymaker King, because not the physical world, the underworld, because in the underworld, all we do is fuck around and joke around and shit and play fight. And then niggas started play fighting and we started boxing. Boxing comes from the underworld. That's all these niggas do down there is box. Except when we box, we're actual characters. If you remember this game called, it was a boxing game, but it was like arcadey. And they had a lot of these crazy characters. They would like box and do these spectacular moves and shit, special moves. Nigga, in the underworld, we get special moves in real life from the underworld. And that nigga Panic, bro, he's like a master of like this shit, because Panic is a really old deity, right? And he's so old that nobody really takes him seriously or whatever, because who takes old men seriously, right? And the underworld is the same. Like, it's kind of the same down there. Like, either they'll respect you or people kind of goof on you for being too old. But the thing down there is that ego works backwards. So like here, like, you can be like a little bitch and still like call people out because we have freedom of speech. There's no freedom of speech really in the underworld. It's everything's an energy. So older energies always have domination over younger energies, but younger energies can make more decisions because they're trying to get up to dwell with the gods. But anyway, Brother Panic would host these boxing matches. And if you're new to the underworld, you must fight. That's what that nigga told me when I went down there. And my thing in life, this is how I know this is a channel from Panic, the Haymaker King of the underworld, not literal Panic. Like, he doesn't exist in the underworld. He's just a representation here. But his true being in the physical world, that nigga hosts boxing matches and tells people to fight. And he always tells, like, remember Fight Club? That nigga said, if it's your first night here, you must fight. That was Panic. Panic in the underworld tells people if you first come to the underworld, you have to fight. And I know that's a channel from him because till this day in this world, I have never gotten into a fist fight. I'm 25 years old and have never fist fought. And well, my little brothers and stuff, but not a physical like fight. Like I'm trying to knock this guy's head off. Not really. Never got into a fight like that. But that's because in the underworld, me and Panic were doing those fucking fights. We used to host these fights. My thing was, I'm the younger Pan, right? So Panic would just tell me what to fucking do all the time. And I didn't really like to fight or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But Panic would always fight. And Panic had a thing where, like, I would fight people and they would beat me up or whatever. And then he would come in and pretty much defend me. Because I was his Aramenos or whatever. Not on the homo shit, but, like, he was just cool. We're the same energy. Like, it's like a Christian. Like, wouldn't a Christian go help out another Christian? It's kind of like that. We're just like, we adhere to that same energy. So, dude, I really gotta take a piss. Excuse my language, but I want to finish this message. So he's the Haymaker King, and he would do all these spectacular moves on people, right? If you ever, like, Brother Panic, okay, you know how he's kind of like corny sometimes? Like, he's funny. That nigga Panic be having me dying, but sometimes Panic, like, he goes too far left or too whatever, and he gets, like, all goofy, like, super, super, super childish goofy or whatever. So then I can tell some people, like, man, that's kind of corny or whatever. Or I can see some people just seeing that humor as not funny. The way that manifests in the underworld is that nigga is a huge jokester. And he's a shapeshifter. Pretty much everyone in the underworld is a shapeshifter because, you know, energy just works that way. And he's a shapeshifter. So basically, the way that Panic walks around is like a very old-ass man. Just old. Like, if I drew this nigga, like, he'll be old as fuck. He'll look like that nigga Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars. That's how a nigga kind of... He takes that form in the underworld sometimes. But then when people start fucking around and joking around too much, he turns into the Haymaker King. And that nigga looks like a cross between that nigga from Street Fighter V, the Mike Tyson character. He looks like Mike Tyson and fucking the clown dude from fucking It, or the clown guy that drives the ice cream truck in Twisted Metal. He looks like a cross between those dudes, and he's buff. and he'll fuck you up. And like the way that nigga laughs, that's like his taunt when he's okay. You know, like when you're boxing and like a boxer, like he'll punch and you can hear the air coming out of his gloves. Nigga, when Panic hits you, you hear laughs. But that nigga, when you look at his face, that nigga's serious. But he's mocking you with his laughs because he's suspending he's suspending your reality. Like he has control of your reality. So this nigga is constantly making noises and shit, so you get distracted. But the whole time he's coming at you like Mike Tyson. And this nigga would do the biggest thing to do in the underworld was a fatality. And you were the shit if you could come up with the most creative fatality. Now, I know this is a challenge because when I was a young kid, my brothers would always come over. My older brothers, the gods, would always come over. And you know what they'll do? They'll say, hey, Kim, you want to play Mortal Kombat 2? And I'll say, yeah, I'm a little kid. Let's play. And this is a violent game, right? I shouldn't be playing. Those niggas were initiating me. And my brothers would come over, and I didn't know how to play. I was like 5, and they were like 16. So, like, yeah, you could play. And they had fun. Like, they used me as a training dummy. You know, like when people wrestle and like your big brother comes over and kind of just comes over and like suplexes you, throws you around, you know, fucking gives you a wedgie, all that shit. He was doing that in the game. And he would like pick all the characters and do all their fatalities on me, all their special moves. And all I knew how to do was like the little Liu Kang kick. And I fly across the map doing a little bicycle kick. That's the only move I knew. And they knew all the little commands. They knew how to manipulate the gods to make these fatalities, basically, because they were the titans, right? My older brothers. So they're teaching me this shit, and they have no morals. I was a little kid, but he was still kicking my ass. You know who did have morals at that time and ego? I did. I started crying. When he would do too many fatalities on me, I would cry. And I missed the message because I was a kid and no one ever told me not to be a little bitch and cry and just listen to the message. Of course, now I'm fine. Like, I know some kids go through that or whatever, and it's normal, really, but I'm a diamond child, right? So I'm really sensitive, like with my emotions, my feelings. You could say sometimes, honestly, you could say the littlest thing to me, and I'll get emotional. And that's, I mean, I accepted myself now just because I know who I am. But before, I would always try and toughen up, you know, keep it in, you know, ignore it, and it helped me really crush my humanity and my ego. But now that I've crushed my ego, I can accept myself as a diamond child. Like, yeah, like, dude. This is weird to say, but my girlfriend is mean, dude. Like, she's not literally mean, but like her mannerisms and like in her culture, the way that she comes off is normal. But to me, it's offensive. And because I'm extra sensitive, because I'm a diamond child, that's why I could channel. I have extra sensitive feelings or senses, so I can pick up on more subtle vibrations and whatnot. So one time I was laying in bed and I never cry. I haven't cried in years. I've not cried for a long time. As soon as I start channeling, I start getting more emotional. And she said something to me that I thought was like really fucking rude. And I know I curse a lot on the channel and stuff, but that's not really my personality. Remember, who did I say I'm channeling? Did I say I'm channeling Pan and Micah? Do you think these people care about morality? No. So when I'm channeling, I curse. Whatever I need to do to get the message out, it works, and there's a science to that. I do it to keep people out. Like, if you get offended by the curse words, you're gonna get offended by anything else I have to say because you probably don't know much. So anyway, that's just to keep out. It's like the whole message. Like, for those who have ears to hear, they'll hear it. If not, then you'll be offended. You won't listen to it. That's fine. I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here to stroke your ego. I literally tell you this. I'm gonna make it my like welcome page video to just explain people the guidelines of this space. But yeah, so he would host these tournaments, and Panic, he's really old, right? So he'll wait till everybody kind of like fights and shit, and then he'll come in and show off, right? He'll come in and be the big brother kicking the little brother's ass in Mortal Kombat 2, and he would do fatalities. This nigga did some amazing. This nigga he will take you to the River of Styx and beat your ass. Like, he'll take you to like all these places in Hades. Nigga, he punched this nigga one time, or like he like did this combo on this nigga. At the end, this nigga let Cerebrus come in and like eat him and shit. He did, like, he'll do a bunch of shit, but for us it's funny because remember, down there is no morality. So we're doing it for entertainment. So yeah, he's doing all this fucked up shit. But Panic is just like having fun. That nigga will like punch you and like he'll send you through like a bunch of different realities and you'll fall asleep and shit. And like Panic actually like the reason why he came back is because that nigga Panic, he was down there as the Haymaker King, right? And his special move was like he'll hit you and he'll send you through a bunch of different realities and you'll forget who you were. That's why the referee, like in boxing, the referee, when you get knocked out, right? Don't you get knocked out? And for 10 seconds, if you can't figure out who you are, do you lose? You lose. And the person who remember who he is wins. I drew a cartoon about a fucking I want fan art. I want somebody. This is a concept for a cartoon. I want someone to draw a cartoon of a little character archetype and a physically bigger archetype with a crown on his head. The little guy shoots him with let's just say a gun, whatever. He knocks the big guy down and he gets his crown and puts the crown on his head. When the big guy comes to, he notices the crown on the little guy's head. So the big guy's perception changes. The big guy becomes little because he wakes up. He has no idea what happened. You wake up and you see a king in front of you. You think, oh, that's my king. But what does the king know? I deceived this guy and took his crown and deceived him further by telling him I'm God. What do white people do here? Not white people in general, but white supremacists and the white supremacist occultists, what they'll do is take African science, as in science from Kemet, all that kind of shit, all the hot shit right now, all that Osiris shit, gods of Egypt and all that kind of stuff. What do? They get white actors. They knock down the giant, they suspend your disbelief in the movie, and they put a white face there and put the crown on and say, and nigga, if I see a white person with a crook and flail and a hat on, I laugh. That's a joke to me. Because they have no idea what that means. They have no idea where it came from because it didn't come from their mind. They weren't even here at that time. That's why they do it wrong. That's why the movie flops. Right? Didn't that shit flop? People, and you can't even, that kind of game is so old that people don't even fall for it anymore. A lot of white people are saying this shit is corny. So they do that. They get their asses fat, big lips. They get they don't really fuck with the nose too much. They have a really big thing about the nose. They go get to tanning salons. Snooki does what? She spray tans herself. That's an old ass reference. I got 2011 references. I never watched TV. Never watched TV, but all these guys want to be black, but they don't want to be black. Paul Mooney made a really good joke. He said everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga. That's pretty deep. Everybody wants to be a god, a Christian, but nobody wants to be a god, Satan. That's what that really is, because it's a polarity. You have to be able to embrace it. There's levels to it. You have to unlock these secrets, and then once you unlock the secrets, you can pick up on the subtleties. Because every time you unlock a secret, you're refining your senses and making them sharper. So, anyway, Panic's the Haymaker King. This nigga will punch you and send you to a bunch of realities. I knew this was real because I did this This channel came like a couple of days ago, and it was a pure of heart channel because I had actually didn't know I was recording, and I recorded the whole Panic, the Haymaker King episode in my book, or not in my book, in that session. It was like a 5-hour channeling session, and I ended up only getting 24 minutes. And that was fine because I wasn't trying to do it on no ego shit anyway. That was my best message, was like the Haymaker King message, but that night that was my best message, but it didn't get recorded because I screwed up the recording. I basically forgot I was recording. That's what happened. But the Haymaker King, he'll punch you, send you through a bunch of different realities, and you'll fall asleep and then wake up. So the reason why, since I know that, right, I went to the underworld and got the understanding, brought it back here, and not rationalized it, but just thought about what could this mean? How could this channel? I channel Pan. Brother Panic is a Pan deity. Didn't I just show you all last night how I channeled Pan and initiated my little brother? Or the Pan initiated my little brother? Brother Panic is the big pan. I channeled him. He told me the reason why he came back to teach is because he was a powerful boxer, right? Whatever. He was powerful spiritually, and he would fuck people up so bad they would forget who they were, and then they would come here. So he came here to kind of pretty much say sorry for making you niggas fall asleep, because it's actually fucked up. That's like the most fucked up thing you could do in the underworld, because we're playing around, but Panic is old and shit. So, you know, like the big homies, sometimes he'll accidentally fuck you up, and then he'll come by and be like, hey, man, sorry, bro, my bad. Let me take you to McDonald's. Let me do this. And, you know, let's hang out, man. I didn't mean it like that, bro. It's like Brother Panic is on that shit. That's when he comes here. He don't get mad at people. There's no ego. He's just like, look, man, I'm just here to hear the message, and whoever hears it, hears it. You know who the people hearing it? The Haymaker King knocked them niggas out and brought them here. If you watch anime, there is a show right now on Netflix called The 7 Deadly Sins. One of the 7 deadly sins is a fairy king. Now, in the fairy world, he's chilling with him and his best friend. I forgot his best friend's name, but he has some occult name. I think it's like Hamlin or something. Whatever. He's like a Lucifer figure. So anyway, I need to charge my laptop. Anyway, in the show, this fairy comes to... He goes from the fairy kingdom to Earth. And when he goes, he sees how great humanity is. And there's a lot to learn. And he needed to get a cure for somebody. He needed to come to America. Basically what happens, he comes from the fairy kingdom to the mortal world to obtain something and bring it back. Now, the main fairy character, he remembers. And he goes back to the fairy world. His best friend goes with him. He's a fairy too. He comes to the mortal... No, what happens is he dies in the fairy world. And as a consequence, he gets sent to the mortal world. And he remembers he's a fairy. When he remembers he's a fairy, he decides to destroy humanity. Now, the story ends this way. The story ends with the fairy king comes from the fairy world, and he notices that his best friend forgot who he is. So what does he do? He kills him. He beats his ass. What does Panic do to you? He beat his ass. So like these shits, like, and the thing with Panic is that, remember, Panic is a pan deity connected to Peter Pan, connected to fairies. So I channel Panic through anime sometimes because he taught me so much of it or whatever. Panic is just a huge energy. Like, he's a big reference point, like, especially in modern occultism. In the modern occult world, he's a legend. Like, I don't think there's anybody as influential this... Well, I was Bobby Hemmett, of course. But Bobby Hemmett is, like, kind of, like, from a different era. But as far as, like, this decade, like, no one's deeper than Panic, bro. Like, I've rarely heard people come with that message, that much purity of heart. Even Bobby Hemmett even told him, like, he's never seen anybody dwell so closely to the gods. And what I just tell you, that nigga Brother Panic is the Haymaker King down there. But he does have not like a moral side, but he respects energy. He has to. He's an old energy, so he respects the young ones and stuff. So he came back here to wake up some of the young gods and say sorry for roughing them up too bad in the spirit world and shit. I wanted to detail some of his more special moves because it was really funny. Like that shit where he knocks you through different realities. That nigga take you to the River of Styx. He told that nigga one time he borrowed Hades' helmet of invisibility and put that shit on, and that nigga will turn invisible and beat you up. Now, what did my older brothers used to do? My older brothers used to come over and play Mortal Kombat 2. He'll pick Reptile. He would go invisible and beat my ass the whole time. And I would cry. Now, when Brother Panic comes and he beat my ass in the spirit world, I didn't cry. I understood. And now here I am, the magician. I'm not the little crying kid anymore. Anyway, maybe that's good enough. Maybe I'll expound more on it because there is more. The channel is pretty long and deep, but it was mostly just detail. I think that was the best like reply I could have gave. But anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Shoot me an email, like the video, subscribe. I want to get some ad sponsorship on here. So if you have a channel you want to shout out, I like video games. Anything video games I most likely know about. I like books. I like African American history. at a grassroots level. So I like Tariq Nasheed, shout out. I like Dr. Umar Johnson, Professor James Smalls, Francis Cress Welsing, Phil Valentine, Brother Panic, of course, Aleem Al-Bay for on the occult side. I respect those guys. I respect Phil Valentine. He's a little bit far out, but I get his messages now. I don't even think he gets his own messages. It sounds like he kind of believes that shit too much, but shit, he's a magician. He might be doing that on purpose. Yeah, so if you want to chop it up about that kind of stuff, just, shoot me an email, shoot me a comment, whatever. That's all. I'm going now. I'm leaving for real. Peace.